चित्ता प्रमादरामपातेस्ततः विचेष्टा जगर्हुस्तदात्मिके. As the cowherd women remembered Lord Krishna, their hearts were overwhelmed by his movements and loving smiles, his playful glances and enchanting talks, and by the many other pastimes he would enjoy with them. Thus absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, the Lord of Rama, the gopis began acting out his various transcendental pastimes. Gati smita prekshana भाषणादिषु प्रिया प्रियस्य प्रतिरुद्धमूर्ते असावहं वा इति अबलस्तदात्मिका न्यावेदिषु कृष्णविहारविभ्रमे. Because the beloved gopis were absorbed in thoughts of their beloved Krishna, their bodies imitated his way of moving and smiling, his way of beholding them, his speech, and his other distinctive features. Deeply immersed in thinking of him and maddened by remembering his pastimes, they declared to one another, I am Krishna, I am Krishna. गत्यन्त उच्चैरमुमेव संहात विचिक्युरुन्मत्तकवाध्वनाध्वनम् प्रप्राचुरकाशवदन्तरं बहिः भूतेषु सन्तं पुरुषं वनस्पतिम्. Singing loudly of Krishna, they searched for him throughout the Vrindavan forest like a band of mad women. They even asked the trees about him, who as the supersoul is present inside and outside of all created things, just like the sky. दृष्टो वा कचित् अश्वत्थ पलाक्षन्याक्रोधनो मनः नन्दसूनुर्गतो हृत्वा प्रेमहासावलोकने. The gopis said, O Ashwatha tree, O Palaksha, O Nyagrodha, have you seen Krishna? That son of Nanda Maharaj has gone away after stealing our minds with his loving smiles and glances. कच्चित्कुरबकाशोक नागपुन्नागचम्पक रामानुजो मानिनीनाम् इतो दर्पहरास्मिते. O Kurabaka tree, O Ashoka, O Naga, Punnaga, and Champaka, as Balram's younger brother, whose smile removes the audacity of all proud women, passed this way. कच्चित् तुलसी कल्याणी गोविंद चरण प्रिये सहत्वली कुले बिभ्रत् दृष्टस्तेति प्रियोच्युते. O most kind Tulsi, to whom the feet of Govinda is so dear, have you seen that infallible one walk by, wearing you and encircled by swarms of bees? Malati adarshivah kachin mallike jatiyuthike ritam bojanayan yatta karasparshena madhava. O Malati, O Mallika, O Jati, O Yuthika, has Madhava gone by here, giving you pleasure with the touch of his hand? Chuta Priyala Panashasana Kovidara Jamvar Kabilva Bakulamra Kadamba Nipa Yena Ye Parartha Bhava Kayamuno Pakula Samshantu Krishna Padavim Rahatatmanam Nehe. O Chuta, O Priyala, O Panasha, Ashana, and Kovidara, O Jambu, O Arka, O Bilva, Bakala, and Amra, O Kadamba and Nipa, and all you other plants and trees living by the banks of the Yamuna, who have dedicated your very existence to the welfare of others. We gopis have lost our minds, so please tell us where Krishna has gone. Kim te kritam shiti tapopata keshavangri स्पर्शोत्सवोत्पुलकिताङ्गनहैरविभासि अपि अङ्कृशं उरुक्रम विक्रमाद्व अहो वहात् अहो वराह वपुष परिरम्भनेन. O Mother Earth, what austerity did you perform to attain the touch of Lord Keshava's lotus feet, which has brought you such great joy that your bodily hairs are standing on end? You appear very beautiful in this condition. Was it during the Lord's current appearance that you acquired this ecstatic symptom? Or was it perhaps much earlier when he stepped upon you in his form of the dwarf Vamandeva? Or even earlier when he embraced you in his form of the poor Varahadeva? Apiyena patni upagata priyaye kataraish tanvan drisham sakhi surivrittam achyuto vaha kantanga sanga kuchakum kumaranjitaye kunda sraja kula pateri havati gandaha. O friend, wife of the deer, has Lord Achyuta been here with his beloved, bringing great joy to your eyes? Indeed, blowing this way is the fragrance of his garland of kunda flowers, which was smeared with the kumkuma from the breast of his girlfriend when he embraced her. Bahum priyamsha upadhya griti padmo Ramanujastulasi kulermadande Anviriyamana ihavastarava pranalam Kim vip kim va vinandati charan pranaya valokai. O trees, we see that you are bowing down. When the younger brother of Rama walked by here, followed by intoxicated bees swarming around the Tulsi Manjaris decorated his garden, did he acknowledge your obeisances with his affectionate glances? He must have been resting his arm on the shoulder of his beloved and carrying a lotus flower in his free hand. प्रच्चाते मलता बाहुम् अपि अश्लिष्टवनास्पते ननुं तत्कराजस्पर्ष्ट बिभ्रति उत्पुलकनीयहो. Let us ask these creepers about Krishna. Even though they are embracing the arms of their husband, this tree, they certainly must have been touched by Krishna's fingernails, since out of joy they are manifesting eruptions on their skin. Iti unmattavacho gopye Krishna veshana katara Leela bhagavatastashta hi anuchakrustadaatmika. Having spoken these words, the gopis, distraught from searching for Krishna, began to act out his various pastimes, fully absorbed in thoughts of him. कस्याचित् पूतनायन्तः कृष्णयन्ती अपि पत्स्तनं टोकयित्वा रुदति अन्या पदाहं शाकटायतिम्. One gopi imitated Putna, while other acted like infant Krishna and pretended to suck her breast. Another gopi, crying in imitation of infant Krishna, kicked a gopi who was taking the role of the cart demon Shakatasura. Daityayitva yam eko krishnarbhavanam ringayam ashakapiyangri karshanti ghoshani swane. One gopi took the role of Trinavarta and carried away another, who was acting like infant Krishna, while yet another gopi crawled about, her ankle bells tinkling as she pulled her feet. Krishna Ramayite Tvito Gopayantyascha Kanchana Gopayantascha Kashchana वत्सायतिं हन्ति चान्य तत्रैकतूपकायतिम्. Two gopis acted like Rama and Krishna in the midst of several others who took the role of cowherd boys. One gopi enacted Krishna's killing of the demon Vatsasura, represented by another gopi, and a pair of gopis acted out the killing of Bakasura. Ahutya Krishnastam anuvartatim venum kvanantim kridantim anye shamsanti satvaiti. When one gopi perfectly imitated how Krishna would call the cows who had wandered far away, how he would play his flute, and how he would engage in various sports, the others congratulated her with exclamation of "Well done, well done." कश्चनचित् स्वभुजं न्यस्य चलन्ति आहापरननु कृष्णोऽहं पाश्यत गतिं ललिताम् इति तान्मना. Another gopi, her mind fixed on Krishna, walked about with her arm resting on the shoulder of the friend and declared, I am Krishna. Just see how gracefully I move. मा भैष्टवता वर्षाभ्यं तत्रानं विहितं मया इति उद्वैकेन हस्तेन यत्यन्ति अनिध्ये मम्बराम्. Don't be afraid of the wind and the rain, said one gopi. I will save you. And with that, she lifted her shawl above her head. आरुह्यका पदक्रम्य शिरसि अहापरं नृप दुष्टा हि गच्छ जतोऽहं कालनं ननु दण्डकृ. Shukdev Goswami continued, O king, one gopi climbed on another's shoulders and putting her foot on the other's head said, Go away from here, O wicked snake. You should know that I have taken birth in this world just to punish the envious. Tatraikuvacha hi gopa davaganim pashyato labanam chakshumshi ashva apidadvam ho vidhyashe kshemam achasha. Another gopi spoke up. My dear cowherd boys, look at this raging forest fire. Quickly close your eyes and I will easily protect you. Baddhanyaya srajakache tanvi tatra ulukhale baddhanami bandha bhatran hetaram hayyangava musam tvaiti bhitasudrik pidhayasyam bheje bhiti vitambanam. One gopi tied up her slender companion with a flower garland and said, Now I will bind this boy who has broken the butter pots and stolen the butter. The second gopi then covered her face and beautiful eyes, pretending to be afraid. Evam Krishnam prachamana Vrindavana latastarun vyachakshata vanudeshe padani paramatmana. While the gopis were thus imitating Krishna's pastimes and asking Vrindavana's creepers and trees where Krishna, the Supreme Soul, might be, they happened to see his footprints in the corner of the forest. Padani vyaktam etani nanda sunur mahatmana lakshante dvaja bhoja vrajankusha yavadabhi. The gopis said, the marks of a flag, lotus, thunderbolt, elephant god, barley corn, and so forth on these footprints clearly distinguish them as belonging to that great soul, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Taiste padaistat padavim anvichantyo grato bala vadvai padaisu prakatani Vilokaratyah samabhruvan. The gopis began following Krishna's path as shown by his many footprints, but when they saw that these prints were thoroughly intermixed with those of his dearmost consort, they became perturbed and spoke as follows. Kashye padani chaitani yataya nandasūnuna amshanyastha prakushthyanya kareno karina yatha. The gopis said, here we see the footprints of some gopi who must have been walking along with the son of Nanda Maharaj. He must have put his arm on her shoulder, just as an elephant rests his trunk on the shoulder of an accompanying she-elephant. Anayaradhito nanum Bhagavana Haririshware Yanno Vihaya Govinda Ritoyam Anayadraha. Certainly, this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. Dhanya ho amiyalyo Govindakri apcha renavai yan brahm heshauram devi dadur murdhai akhanuttaye. O girls, the dust of Govinda's lotus feet is so sacred that even Brahma, Shiva, and the goddess Rama take that dust upon their heads to dispel sinful reactions. Tasya amuni na shobham kurvanti uchay padani yat naiv kavartya gopinam raho bhunkate chutadaram nalakshate padani yatra tasya nunam tranan puraiha hityat sujatam gritalam unnine preshyasim priya. These footprints of that special gopi greatly disturb us. Of all the gopis, she alone has taken away to the secluded place where she is enjoying the lips of Krishna. Look, we can't see her footprints over here. It's obvious that the grass and the sprouts were hurting the tender soles of her feet, and so the lover lifted up his beloved. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. I have finished. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Samta. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. So I think most of you didn't realize the time has changed in US and Canada. US and Canada, the clock is moved an hour ahead. So what we could do, since it'll be too early for you, 6 o'clock. So what we can do, come by halfway. We can start India time 6:30. Would that be okay, Sharath Prabhuji?
Yes, even 6 o'clock is all right, Prabhuji.
It might be too early for most of you,
No,
So,
Prabhuji, 6 o'clock is it's a perfect
okay?
time for us. Yes,
6
Prabhuji.
o'clock is actually
Previously we
convenient.
had 6 o'clock only, Prabhu. Previous year also, last year also we started at 6 only. Yeah.
Okay. So most of you probably didn't know the time change, I guess, Okay. Who's showing this? Oh, yeah, we're recapping, right? Go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Then devotees from tomorrow onwards till end of October, we will have this time from 6 o'clock to 8:30. And again, the time will change on 1st of November. Thank you very much. Now we'll go through what we learned in the last class, that is lesson 65. Now, as we know, what has been happening, Lord Krishna, he started blowing his flute, and the gopis came there. Then Krishna, he told them to go back, and he gave so many reasons. This also we learned. And in this lesson, in lesson 65, the gopis counter arguments, they are given. What the counter arguments the gopis gave. Now in this the chapter 29 verses 28 to 41, they depict the counter arguments of the gopis. Now my question is, what are the emphasis of their actions? What are the 3-4 things? It is given in the slide and marked also. And just remember, you don't have to read out the slide. You just express in your own words. They may be different from what is given in the slide. I'll repeat my question. What are the emphasis of their actions during this counter argument of the gopis?
So, Prabhuji, they were scratching the feet with their with their what do you call the toenails, and they were very, very angry. At the same time, they were sort of bewildered or confused that they have come with so much of enthusiasm, but Krishna has turned them down. Yeah, these were some I can remember. And then from the slide, it's a emotional turmoil is what is there. And then physical expression, as I said, scratching. And then there's a conflict between love and dharma because they left their dharma for the love, but now the love is also, and their nature of divine love was expressed here, and their longing for Krishna's affection.
Okay, this answer will also come, but basically, if you see on the top, it is given their struggle. They were struggling, and their allegiance to Krishna and embodiment of divine love. Okay,
Yeah.
next question
Krishna,
is.
yeah, Krishna is talking about dharma, Prabhu. Okay, but gopis are talking about love. Okay, so
Yes.
their love and affection is much beyond than dharma. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go through them. Then the next question is, what was the emotional state of the gopis at that time when Krishna told them to go back and gave so many reasons for doing so? What was their emotional state? In which state the gopis started the counter arguments?
Gopis felt very sad, and they thought that Krishna has called us by the sound of the flute, and on the other hand, he is saying to go back. And gopis are thinking that we have left we left our house, our husband and children, on hearing the sound of the flute. And here we have surrendered to Krishna, but Krishna is saying to go back. So their position is they are sad. They are happy to see the sound, and they are happy to go there. And they rushed suddenly, very quickly. And on the other hand, they are very sad. We have to. Krishna is asking us to go back, and Krishna doesn't understand our pure love, divine love. So they are in between the two things. They had lowered their heads, and their tears are blowing. So this was the condition of the gopis.
Okay, overall, what we see, they were sorrowful. They are very much distressed to hear this when he told them to go back, and because they were longing for Krishna's association. And then what did they do? They lowered their heads. Their lips were dried up as they felt rejected by Krishna. They thought Krishna has rejected them. That's why he is telling them to go back to their houses. Then the next question is, how did the gopis physically expressed their grief? How it was expressed on ground?
They were scratching their toes on the ground.
Yes, and any other thing?
The saffron paste was being washed away.
Washed away by the tears because they
Tears
were
of,
crying
because
also.
yeah, they were disturbed.
Okay, the next question is, what was the conflict between the gopis' love for Krishna and Dharma?
Krishna Prabhuji. So again, it was just mentioned dharma and love. So dharma, that means they married to somebody, they belong to some person, so they were there to dharma, artha, kam, moksha. So they have to come out of that, and they wanted to be with Krishna, so that love. So conflict between dharma and love.
Well, they questioned how someone who is Dharma himself, Vigrahavan Dharma, like there is in Ramayana, there is the very famous sentence that you remember, Rama Vigrahavan Dharma. Like Krishna is also Vigrahavan Dharma. His Vigrahavan Dharma, he called them. That's why they came at the mid of the night. And after coming them, how can he reject them? This is what is the conflict. And as you know, the gopis, they were so-called married. Actually, they were not married, but they are duplicates. They had married, and there was a conflict between this. So they were thinking about this. Then the next question is, what is the nature of divine love?
Surrendership, totally.
Yeah.
Pure
Completely.
love, devotion, complete devotion.
Hey, what is so special about the gopis' love for Krishna and any other love?
Whatever they want to do it for their friends or relatives, they think that it should be done to only to Krishna, because they can't control their affection and love. Okay, it is not possible for them to it is not possible for them to having that kind of expressing that love, Prabhuji.
Okay, you want to say their devotion of the gopis, it surpasses all other.
Everything, correct. Yeah, yes.
That is
Completely surpasses. Correct.
And there is a much deeper spiritual connection between the gopis and the Supreme Lord Krishna. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. Now, what do the metaphors, the nectar of the lips of Krishna and the melodious tune, they indicate?
They indicate the beauty of Krishna and the charm which intoxicates them over the gopis. And this and it's a metaphor which shows that delightful and destructive.
They were both delightful and destructive.
Destructive as their passion.
Because their passion led to emotional suffering. It seemed that they were suffering. Actually, they were they were enjoying that. They liked that suffering. Okay, the next question is, why did the gopis reject their relationships with their husbands? What does this suggest?
गोपीस समझती थी कि हमने सबसे जिनको हम सबसे ज्यादा अफेक्शन है हमारा, जैसे कृष्णा के साथ है, वो हमारे हस्बैंड से भी ज्यादा, जो ऑलरेडी जो हस्बैंड उनके थे उनसे ज्यादा वो इनको कृष्णा को चाहते थे। तो उनका था सजेशन कि भी जो वही हमारा हस्बैंड होगा जिसको हम पूरा अपना सब कुछ अपना हमने वो कर दे दिया, सरेंडर कर दिया, हस्बैंड वही होना चाहिए।
Okay, you mean to say that the husbands were insignificant when compared to Krishna? they loved Krishna and their love was in such a position that their husbands were insignificant. And what was this love? It is not only love but intense devotion to Lord Krishna. And this is suggesting that their spiritual state elevated them, elevated all the gopis above all worldly attachments. That's why the gopis, they are in a much, much higher state than anybody else in this material world. And then the next question is, what does the lotus feet of Krishna symbolizes?
Humility and the go Prabhuji, go.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
humility in the highest form of devotion. So
Higher, yes. The gopis recognize Krishna's divine nature. Please remember that anything which comes from the feet of the Supreme Lord, that is more divine, like the Ganges, Ganga. It comes from the feet of the Supreme Lord. That's why it is so holy to all of us. Now the next question is, what do the gopis distinguish between their love for Krishna and the societal norms?
they were amazed at how such a divine figure can be so strictly adhering to the dharmic principle when love is of more importance here, which is what they had.
Yes, their love surpasses anything and everything, all earthly considerations and ethical considerations. And then the next question is, what do the gopis ultimately conclude?
Power of
The
divine
gopis-
love.
Anything
Good,
else?
good.
Yes, yes. What can change the gopis' the moral character?
That is just hearing the Krishna's flute. Okay, that itself is enough. Okay, for to change the moral compass. Okay, there that is what they think. Gopis think. So, yeah,
Yes, their experience of hearing Krishna
hearing Krishna's flute. Yeah.
And
or
presence of Krishna also.
yes,
Presence.
or witnessing his presence, it is enough to alter their moral compass. Okay, then we'll go to next slide. Now the Acharya's comments of Sridhar Swami. What does the touching of hands indicate?
Emotions, it creates emotions between gopis.
Yes, you mean they can enhance emotional intimacy between
Yes.
the Supreme Lord and the gopis. Okay, the next question is, what does the playful interactions and joyfulness they indicate?
It's mostly the ability to induce the pleasure through humor and playful exchange, as mentioned. So that's a transformation of emotion, similar to what we experience at the material level also.
Yes, how joy can be transformative force in human connections. Then next slide. Now Krishna's ability to induce pleasure and pride indicate what? He induces pleasure also, pride also. Ultimately, that's
Multiple
what happens.
personality.
Duality of Krishna.
Yeah.
Yes, duality.
Really.
And please remember, we learned earlier also this duality can exist only in the Supreme Personality of Godhead and with nobody else of this duality, because in other things like in all of us, we cannot have any dual qualities. we'll have either this or that. Okay, let us go on to the next slide. 16. Now, how does Krishna curb the pride of the gopis while simultaneously expressing his own desires?
Krishna suddenly disappears from there. He wanted to
No,
come.
no. Any other?
He curbs their pride with expressing his
Smile.
own desires.
My question is, how does Krishna curb the pride of the gopis while simultaneously expressing his own desires?
By smile, he curbs their pride.
Yes, his
Yeah.
smile. Then go to the next slide. Now question is, Krishna's smile acknowledges which aspect of the gopis and pride. What do the gopis they do? Krishna's smile acknowledges what aspect of his personality, of the gopis?
He's
Acknowledge-
teaching them humility, actually. through this.
Obstinacy.
Obstinate.
Okay. Now Krishna's pride is rooted in what?
In his
And
magnanimity.
his magnanimity.
He is most magnanimous. And gopis are which potency of the Supreme Lord?
Ladini
Ladini
Shakti.
Shakti.
Dini Shakti.
Ladini Shakti. And why Krishna is called Achyuta?
Because he enjoys countless gopis without expending himself.
Yes, he can individually enjoy with countless gopis.
Gopis.
Okay, the last slide. The gopis' musical exchange highlight what thing?
Devotion and
Devotion and
creativity.
Devotion and creativity.
Devotion and creativity. And who amongst the gopis felt proud? All the gopis, they felt proud. But who else?
Radha.
Radha.
Radharani. Which bhava was experienced by the gopis?
Vipralamba.
Vipralamba.
Vipralamba. And who facilitated the rasa dance?
Yogamaya.
Yogamaya.
Yogamaya. And what was the purpose of Krishna's abrupt disappearance?
To curtail the
Gopis.
pride of gopis.
And to address Radharani.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
to address the gopis' pride and to specifically favor Srimati Radharani. These were some of the questions we discussed. I hope you have now recollected what we learned in the last lesson. Now, this lesson, today's lesson, is going to be much more interesting than the previous ones also. Thank you, Prabhuji. I have finished.
Thank you, Sanjeev Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Sharad Prabhuji, Sanjeev Prabhuji, and all of you. A wonderful exchange. Thank you. So let's offer our today's classes. So first we'll offer our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadavaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shila Prabhupada, Jai Shila Prabhupada. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratishe Namaha. O most beneficent incarnation, you are Krishna himself, appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden complexion of Srimati Radharani, and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagnahi Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Sumeda Swami. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship his incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the glories of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself, appearing Sri Krishna. He is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Sastra Vicharnaik Nipunau Shadharma Samstapakau Lokanam Hitakarinau Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanyakarau Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Anandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalako. I offer my respectful obeisances to 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Sanatana Goswami, Shri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami, Shri Jiva Goswami, Shri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are studying, expert in scrutinizing and studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the 3 worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narom Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Shri Govindam Mahadipurusham Tamam Bhajami. So, welcome back, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All good Shri Prabhupada. So, today we are doing now chapter 30. Krishna is leaving now, left now. So they are really, and suddenly Krishna disappeared, So what I'm going to do, I requested Samata Mataji to recite the verses itself, and she did that wonderful. So what we'll do today, a little bit differently than what we are used to do it. I think this time what we'll do, we will read the purports of these verses. But there's some very interesting things are there in these purports. And most of the purports, they focus on Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments. So a lot of it that I prepared exclusively from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, this time I omitted, and there are not much comments from other acharyas anyway, So what I've done, what I'm going to do now is to read some of the purports of the verses that we are going to cover, and we'll see some very interesting um, exchange, how the gopis are really in great painful state in this Vipralamba. Krishna already left, suddenly disappeared from the Rasa Leela, okay? And we know the reason for that, as we saw that Shal Prabhu conducted so efficiently. Two reasons that you remember. First, to curb the gopis' pride, because each gopis thought that Krishna is dancing with her alone, so she must be special. They thought about that. So that was the pride. But the real reason that we will see in this chapter now, that real reason that Radharani left in Mana, in pride, that how dare Krishna could pay so much attention to other gopis and sort of ignoring my presence. So she left in disgust. So Krishna noticed that. So Krishna wanted to follow her. So he disappeared for Radharani, and he went in search for Radharani in the forest. Okay. And then later on, we will see how gopis discover in a rather indirect way when they were looking for Krishna, and they found Krishna's footprints, and they just followed the footprints, and they did some detective work studying the way the footprints are there, what must have transpired there. That we will discuss about it. Okay, but first I'm going to read some purports. You will appreciate the bhavas, the depth of love they had, especially in this Vipralamba, in separation from Krishna. That is what the true love actually sparkles only in separation. How much we care for somebody when that somebody is not there in front of you, then that you will really realize. You will realize how much that person meant for you, how much your love is so deep for that person that you realize only in separation. कहते हैं कि लोग जो चले जाने के बाद उसकी प्रशंसा करते हैं, जब तक वो वहां यहाँ होते हैं तब उनकी वैल्यू नहीं होती है. This is the human nature actually. Now we are not talking about ordinary humans. We are talking about transcendental personalities. Ragatmika Bhakta. So Bhakta and the Supreme Lord, उनके बीच का जो प्रेम है, उस प्रेम को हम तो you cannot equate on the material terms, and that you can be only able to see and appreciate if you hear what is going on here now. Okay, the gopis are in Unmada. This Unmada word will come repeatedly in my purports, okay, and in my PowerPoints. Unmada means this divine madness. On a material platform, other person, onlooker, will think that this person is mad. It doesn't know the reality. How is that person behaving? So like a madcap, But here, that madness is not on a material platform, but on a spiritual platform. That's called Unmada. Actually, when we reviewed Sri Ujjvala Nilamani, there Sri Rupa Goswami discusses at great length what is Unmada. So in my PowerPoints, you will see that Unmada repeatedly I explain from a different perspective, different angles, to get a depth of it, the word Unmada. Unmada, it goes into several advanced stages, that we'll see. So let me share my screen here. There is the just a minute. Okay, because I'm using this this screen for this talk, and see if I can get it. Just bear with me a couple minutes, okay? Okay, so we should be able to get it now. Okay, do you see the screen here now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
This Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 30, the gopis search for Krishna. Do you see that? Are you able
Yes,
to
yes.
see that? Okay, so that's good then. Okay, so this is the chapter we are going to do that. And we'll read purports of few verses. Samantha Mata, you already recited the verses. Okay. So first verse, Sukadeva Goswami said that when Lord Krishna disappeared, so suddenly the gopis felt great sorrow at losing sight of him, like a group of female elephants who had lost their mate. Only the male elephant. There's one male elephant, and he has a harem of so many different female elephants. So when the male elephant leaves, the female elephants get in great trouble, you know. So this is a very nice analogy is there. Okay. So now we'll move to second verse. So the feeling or the status of the gopis felt suddenly Krishna disappeared. Okay. So as the coward women remembered Lord Krishna, their hearts were overwhelmed by his movements and loving smiles, his youthful glances and enchanting talks. So these are the features of Krishna. It's so enchanting that really stole the heart and the mind of the gopis. And that's why they go into this unmada, you know, the divine madness. And they go into the different trees, creepers, female deer, and all this. They're asking, have you seen Krishna? Please tell me, tell us where is it gone now, you know, like that. By many other pastimes. And then when they couldn't find him and the trees, creepers couldn't reply, then they started among themselves. They took a role of one becomes Krishna, one gopi becomes Krishna, the other person, how all the different pastimes of Krishna, killing the demons, beginning with Putana, Shankatasura, Bakasura, and all this that we saw already discussed about it. They recall everything. So by that way, their mind is focused on Krishna's pastime. So this is again teaching us when we feel separation from Krishna, when we are in, and when do we feel that? We are in great distress, material distress. Then we think of the Supreme Lord, here Krishna, and then we get solace, peace, when we still recall at that time Krishna's pastime, Srimad Bhagavatam. That's why Bhagavatam is so important for all of us, you know. When we do that, then our mind gets diverted from our material distress, and Krishna automatically takes care of that our difficulties. So this is a good lesson for all of us. Okay, so the reason I'm doing a little bit differently today is because this is what I found myself a great solace, because I'm in great difficulty now, unimaginable difficulties I'm feeling now. Sometimes situation one faces, it's like a deck of cards, playing cards, suddenly fall apart. Everything will be lost, as you know, my academic degree I'm pursuing, the situation has developed. I've been wrongly accused. I may, God forbid, I may resign from that. We'll see what happens, how Krishna creates such a situation and then how we react. Then Krishna comes to our aid, So this is what my situation is like that now. So here, this is the verse 2. The verse itself is like this. As the cowherd women remembered Lord Krishna, their hearts were overwhelmed by his movements. You can see the slide now, right? I mean, this purport, you can see that, right? What I'm reading? Everybody?
Yes.
Yes,
His
Prabhuji.
playful glances and enchanting talks. These are the features of Krishna that is so charm, especially the gopis. And by many other pastimes, you will enjoy with them. So they started recalling those pastimes, So they absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. This is the key words. We need to take our mind off the material world, the difficulties we face, and divert to Krishna. That is the way to solve our situation, to recompose ourselves, So that is what I'm trying to do too. Here Ramapati is addressed. Ramapati is again Lord Krishna himself. The gopis begin acting out his various transcendental pastimes. So let's read the purport here. Very interesting purport. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti's purport, okay? And today's purports all I've taken from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and then I developed some key highlights of it, the way I write my PowerPoints, okay? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes the following charming exchange between Krishna and the gopis. Now, they are imagining all this thing, okay? Krishna said to Gopi, "My dear land lily, are you going to offer your honey to this very thirsty honeybee or not?" Now, look at this is a very poetic way of saying that, okay? Lilies, as you know, lilies means that lotus. So he's asking them that why don't you let me taste your honey from your lips? So gopis replied, "My dear bee, the husband of the lilies, our husband, real husband, is sun god." Okay, because only when the sun comes, the lotus lilies bloom, right? So now Krishna is replying, see how charmingly. "But my dear lily, the very nature of your lilies is that you don't give your honey to your husband." Actually, that is reality. When the lotus flower blooms, it blooms because of the sun, right? But who takes the honey of the lotus flower? It's the bees, swarming bees. They drink the honey. So Krishna is pointing out very charmingly, that your honey doesn't belong to your real husband, son, but it belongs to the bees, like me. So let me taste that honey from your lips, So that's why they said, rather you have I'm your paramar that way. I'm Upapati, So it is my right to drink your honey. So Gopis, defeated by the words of Krishna, laughed and then gave him her lips as honey to drink. So this is an exchange of rasa actually, between the divine lovers. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also described the following conversation. Krishna said to a gopi, another gopi now, "Oh, I can understand that you approach this nipa tree." At that time, gopis going all around and asking the trees, the creepers, female deer, and so on like that. "Have you seen Krishna? Krishna must have touched you and then left. So please, if you did, please tell us where is Krishna now, So here, gopis coming to near a tree, So Krishna said to this gopi, I can understand that you approach the nipa tree. Standing here, you were bitten by an audacious snake. Its venom has already reached your chest. But since you are a respectable maiden, you haven't asked me to cure you out of your shyness. But still I came, being merciful by nature. Now I will massage your body with my hands. That's what Krishna's intention. So I'll chant a mantra to counteract the serpent's poison. So in that pretext, Krishna wants to touch them actually, and the gopis were really charmed by his very in a very smart talk, Vaka Chaturta of Krishna. So the gopi said, "But my dear, no snake has bitten me. Why you're saying that? The snake has bitten, no snake has bitten me. Go massage the body of some other girl, not me." So Krishna is saying that, come now, my dear respectable girl, from your trembling voice, because her voice is trembling because of the love for that Krishna, so that your trembling voice, your lips are murmuring that still tells me the poison is acting on you. So let me help you. Let me massage, So I can tell you that you are experiencing a feverish reaction to the poisoning. Knowing this, I don't take care of you. I'll be guilty of, if I don't take care of you, I'll be guilty of seeing this innocent girl being killed by a snake bite, So see, the gopis were mantra mugdha. They become charmed by this very, very sweet talk and a very, very wonderful, unique way of Krishna expressing that. And that is what they surrender themselves totally, completely to Krishna's will, That's what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in a very interesting way, it brings out in this verse. Let's see the next verse. So there's a third verse. Because the beloved gopis were absorbed in thoughts of their beloved Krishna, their bodies imitated this way by moving and smiling, his way of beholding them. The way Krishna sees at the gopis, not directly, but in a sideways, sidelong glance. His speech, and he talks in a double language, What he says is different than what he actually means. His other distinctive features, deeply immersed in thinking of him. Now you'll see in my purports, all this thing will be there, okay? Maddened by the remembering his pastimes, they declare as to one another, I am Krishna. So now they are acting themselves. One gopi is acting as Krishna, remembering what actually in real life they transpired. Krishna is going to act in that way, in a charming way. So they are recalling the charm. So one gopi is acting like that. Another gopi is gopi. One gopi becomes a Krishna, So purport. Spontaneously, the gopis began moving like Krishna. They smiled as he would smile, glanced boldly as he would, and spoke as he would. So perfectly they acted out. The one who plays Krishna, she would act exactly like Krishna, okay? The other gopi will become charmed by that, absorbed in the existence of Krishna and mad with love at the sudden separation from him. Thus their dedication to him attained absolute perfection. This is again the lesson for us. This is how we should really think about Krishna. All these pastimes we are studying, and we are now studying at a very, very high level. Okay. So we'll read few verses. Singing loudly of Krishna, they search for him throughout Vrindavan forest. Now remember, it's the night time, but it's a full moon night. So they are seeing everything very, very clearly. They're asking each trees, where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Forest like a band of mad women that even ask the trees about him. who as the super soul present. Now remember, every living entity, there is a super soul. Okay, every living entity, including even the bugs, bacteria. No living organism can survive without super soul being present, because every living organism has a soul in it. Okay, and when there is a soul in it, super soul in it, guiding that living entity how to exist in the material world. Okay, so even the trees, creepers, they're all living organisms, and there's a super soul within them. So basically, they are talking that, So purport: lost in the madness of love for Krishna, Unmada, the gopis inquired about him from even the trees of Vrindavan. Of course, there is no actual separation from Lord Krishna, since he is in all pervading super soul. So basically, they are asking Krishna directly. They are addressing super soul within that trees. 5th verse. The gopis said, "Oh, Ashwatha tree." Now they're coming near the Ashwatha tree. You know what is Ashwatha tree? That is the we have to get the word. What do I? Banyan tree. Oh, Plaksha. Oh, Nyagrada. Have you seen Krishna, the son of Nanda Baba, has gone away from stealing after stealing our mind with his loving smiles and glances? Of course, the trees cannot answer that, right? We all know that. So they interpreted this tree is a male tree. How is he going to understand the female feelings? So they ignored that and they moved now to other creepers and so on like that. They are female. Tulasi is a female, right? Like that. So they are moving forward. Oh, Kurapaka tree, oh, Ashoka tree, oh, Punaga tree, oh, Champaka tree, has Balram's younger brother, whose smile removes the audacity of all proud women, passed this way? As soon as the gopis saw that a particular tree would not answer, they immediately left it and rushed off to another tree to make further inquiries. Because they thought the trees are all male, How could they male can understand such a delicacy of love? Only women can understand that, can actually feel for that. Okay, moving on. O most kind Tulasi, to whom the feet of Govinda are so dear, have you seen that infallible one walk by, bearing you and encircled by swarms of bees? Remember, Krishna's lotus feet is covered with Tulasi Dala, and he wears a garland also, and that is a Vajanti Mala, and also sometimes with Tulasi Manjaris, and the bees are swarming around. And remember, this particular garland Krishna wears, they're of not this world. They're also of spiritual world. They never wilt, just like ordinary flowers, So these are real, never, they are coming from straight from the Golok Vrindavan Dham. So the Acharyas explain here that the word charana is a term of respect, as in the expression of evam vadanti acharya charanaha. Charana actually lotus feet, The bees humming around the garland worn by Lord Govinda, Sri Govinda, were attracted by the fragrance of the Tulasi Manjaris. The bees actually are attracted by the fragrance of the Tulasi Manjari, The gopis felt that the trees had not replied because they were male, but the Tulasi is a woman. So she can identify their feelings of love, okay? But even Tulasi does not respond. So now they know that. Why Tulasi won't respond? Because Tulasi is dear to Krishna. Why would they respond to us, gopis? Because Tulasi would think that we are a competitor for Krishna's love. So she would not tell us where Krishna left. So every time they misinterpret actually, But the point here is to understand the exchange of love the gopis expressing to that each of the this non-moving organisms, trees, creepers, and so on like that. Oh Malati, Malati is a flower, of course. Oh Mallika, there are different flowers, trees, creepers. Oh Jati, oh Unitritika, has Madhava gone by here, giving you a pleasure with the touch of his hand? So Krishna, when he moves in the forest, he is known to be touching the flowers and so on like that, okay? And they experience the feeling for that. So Rachari is explaining. But even Tulasi herb did not answer that. So how they misinterpret the Tulasi? Because Tulasi is a woman, considering a competitor. So they approach the fragrant jasmine flowers. The gopis seeing the jasmine vines, vine means they're creepers. They're round about the tree, you know. Assume that this plant must have seen the Lord Krishna and were therefore showing humility in their ecstasy. Text 9. Oh Chuta, oh Briala, oh Pana. Now this Chuta, there's a mango tree and a special creeper that goes around the mango tree, okay? And embracing the mango tree, that particular creeper. So according to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Chuta is a mango creeper. They move around the mango tree, where the Amrita is a mango tree. He goes on to explain that the Nipa, though not a very prominent tree, bears these large flowers. And the gopis' desperation to find Krishna is clearly shown by the fact they approach this insignificant arka plant, a creeper. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the following information about the Vrindavan trees. The Nipa is the dust kadamba, and it has large flowers. The kadamba proper has smaller flowers and a very pleasant fragrance. The Kavindara is a particular kind of Kanchanara mountain ebony tree. Even though the arka plant is very insignificant, it always grows near Lord Gopeshwara, the Shiva deity in the Vrindavan forest, because it is dear to him. Just bear with me, just a few more verses, okay? Then we'll get to my PowerPoints. Oh, Mother Earth. So finally they are asking Mother Earth now. The trees did not respond. Tulsi did not respond. Creepers did not respond. What austerity did you perform to attain the touch of Lord Kesha's lotus feet? So now they know when Krishna runs around in the forest, walks around, he leaves these footprints on the earth, okay? The dust. So earth must know where Krishna is now, you know. So they're asking the earth, oh Mother Earth, what austerity did you actually perform to attain the touch of Lord Krishna's lotus feet, which has brought you such great joy that your bodily hairs are standing on end? You appear very beautiful in this condition. Was it during the Lord's current appearance that you acquired this ecstatic symptom? So Krishna must have passed not too long ago, they surmised. Okay? Or was it perhaps much earlier when he stepped upon you on his form of this dwarf Vaman Dev? Okay, this is now long story about Vaman Dev, they are thinking about that, okay? Or even earlier, when he embraced you in the form of boar Varahadeva, when Varahadeva lifted Mother Earth from the subterranean land, you know. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the thought of the gopis as follows. This is the reason why I'm reading these purports, so that you know the special rasa, how the gopis' state of mind, and how they're asking the trees and creepers and all non-moving organisms. Perhaps the trees and plants mentioned above in the previous verses did not hear our question because they were in trance. So the gopis misinterpreted because the trees, the creepers did not respond. How they can respond? Because they are must be in the trance, samadhi, thinking about Krishna who passed nearby, who touched them, So they are thinking like that. They're misinterpreting that and meditating on Lord Vishnu. Or perhaps, since they will not tell us where Krishna has gone, they are hard-hearted. So now they again misinterpreting that they are hard-hearted because they don't respond the feeling that we are going through, that the emotions we are going through, that the pain we are experiencing. How could they see that? Because they already saw Krishna themselves. Even though they live in a holy place, always, what is the use of unnecessarily criticizing the residents of holy place? So now they are taken back a little bit. We should not criticize them, because this is a holy place. We cannot tell if they really know where Krishna has gone. So they are giving a benefit of doubt. So let us find someone who definitely knows where Krishna might be. Thus the gopis concluded that since Lord Krishna had to be somewhere on this earth, the earth herself must know his whereabouts. Then the gopis thought, since Krishna always walks on the earth, she is never separated from him. Obviously, Krishna is walking around, so earth must be seeing him all the time. Look at how very interesting way our acharyas are thinking, The reasoning, Gopi is reasoning about it, and thus cannot understand how much his parents, girlfriends, and servants suffer in his absence. Let us ask her, Mother Earth, what austerities she must have performed to gain the greatest fortune of being constantly touched by the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna. Verse 11. O friend of the dear, has Lord actually been here with his beloved, bringing great joy to your eyes, indeed blowing his way the fragrance of his garlands, kunda flowers, which was smeared with the kumkum from the breast of his girlfriend, where he embraced her. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur provides the following charming commentary. Look at it, I really relish his commentaries, So that's the reason I give you the taste, kind of different kind of taste this particular talk, I hope you enjoy it. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, okay? The gopis spoke to doe, now a female deer. Oh friend, wife of deer, from his bliss in your clear eyes, we can tell that Sri Krishna has expanded your joy with the beauty of his limbs. Krishna always used to embrace the deer, female deers, cows, and so on like that, and so forth. You are eager to realize the ecstasy of seeing Krishna, and thus your eyes are following him. He is never lost to you. Then the gopis, seeing the doe, female deer, continues to walk in a natural way, exclaimed, "Oh, are you telling us that you have seen Krishna? Look, as this deer walks, the constantly turns her head back to us as if to say, I will show him to you." See how they are imagining these things, The bear, the female deer turn her head back toward the gopis. So they interpret that the deer wants to tell them that yes, we have seen Krishna, okay? So just follow me and I will show you. So they follow the deer now. In this merciless Vrindavan, she is the only merciful person. So now they interpret this female deer is the only merciful who exactly feels the pain of separation from Krishna, like us. As the gopis follow the doe, they happen to lose sight of her and they cried, "Oh, why can't we see the deer who is showing us the way to Krishna?" The deer, of course, suddenly disappeared. One gopi suggests that Krishna must be somewhere in the vicinity and the deer, being afraid of him, must have hidden herself to avoid the possible mistake of revealing his presence. Because deer also wants to, show preference to Krishna. They don't want to disclose Krishna is hiding, and actually Krishna is hiding somewhere in the bush that we'll see in the later pictures. Okay, I'll stop here and take you to my PowerPoints. But I just gave you the taste of it from these purports. If you read the purport and this purport of this our acharyas, you'll really feel great. Very great. You'll feel. Try that out yourself. Okay. Since the lack of time, I cannot go further. But this is so beautiful, so relishing. Okay. So now I'm going to take this off. And then I'll show you my PowerPoints. Okay, you see the PowerPoints now? Everybody?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So this is what you'll see, this chapter 30. There are 44 verses, okay? So we will do in 2 lessons. Today we'll do in lesson 66 in 2 parts. First 13 verses, the gopis being tormented by separation, the pralamba from Krishna that we saw a few examples in those early verses, okay? First 13 verses. Then I'll show you some of the key highlights that I came up with that, okay? And then 14 to 23, the gopis imitate Krishna's pastimes. So this we'll do that. And then lesson 67, we'll do tomorrow, okay? So first 23 verses, we are going to see. These verses now we already seen that I'll skip now. We already, Samtamata has already done that. Okay, so now you see that this picture, the gopis are in great distress. Some of them were talking to trees. Some of them were not getting any response. They were in great frustrations and they were crying, thinking about Krishna. Where is he? Where could he be? Like that. And look, Krishna is hiding somewhere, not appearing to the vision of the gopis, but he's right there around them. He's watching them, So the gopis were tormented by separation, vipralamba from Krishna. So first 13 verses, okay? What we are going to see here, key philosophical highlights. And that is based on Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments. Nothing of my own, okay? I'm taking everything from our Acharya's comments. I'm just putting in the words, okay? So some philosophical highlights, and then we'll see some key themes developing from there, So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments capture the intense emotions and divine madness, Unmada. See that? And you are going to repeatedly hear that Unmada from now onwards. So bear with me. Of the gopis in their longing and separation from Krishna. That's exactly the intention of Krishna. Only through separation, your love deepens for Krishna. That's why Krishna creates. And for us in material world, the difficulties we face is because of that. Only in difficult, Kunti Mata says, give me more difficulties. Why? Because more difficulty comes only then we remember you. And remembering you means we are going to get off the material world. And we never have to come back. And we never have to come and experience the pain in this material world, the miseries of material world. Material world is designed to give us difficulties. The deep yearning is vividly portrayed. Look at how beautiful words are there, poetic words. Nothing of my own, okay? Through their inquiries into the trees and plants that we saw some examples and reflecting their emotional state. We saw how they were crying, how desperately they are trying to find out where Krishna is, to the point in their madness, divine madness, they are asking the trees who cannot speak, who cannot respond. But their non-response also they are misinterpreting like that. So they are in a different world. You only have to imagine what state of mind they must be. As the gopis search for Krishna, their conversations illustrate a blend of playful banter and poignant longing. Each interact, and that's exactly the purpose of Krishna, to feel the longing for him. And we are getting these so-called material difficulties, but they are not real difficulties. Krishna is intending for us to divert our mind to think about him. Each interaction with nature, whether with trees, flowers, or even animals, serves as a medium for their expressions of love and desperation. The way they personally personify these elements of the nature, believing that they might have seen Krishna. They're asking trees, creepers, thinking, because Krishna has a habit of touching the trees, creepers, flowers with his lotus hand, and sometimes he leaves nail mark on them also, and they know what his nail mark means. Krishna is to, when they embrace, Krishna is to scratch with his nail their body parts, so they can identify that, the way they personally personify these elements of nature, believing that they might have seen Krishna or know his whereabouts, demonstrates their complete absorption in their love for him. It's such a depth of love we can only imagine hearing these conversations. The discrepancies of Krishna's playful teasing and the gopis' responses highlight the playful aspect of the relationship, showcasing their wit and charm. Look at that. The gopis' realization that the trees and plants may not respond to them adds a layer of frustration in their search. This is all Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He writes like that, I'm just paraphrasing that comments, basically, which only deepens the pain of separation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments highlight the gopis' transformation as they reach the peak of their madness, Unmada, where they identify so closely with Krishna that they equate themselves with him. So now they themselves act as Krishna to recreate those pastimes of Krishna and enjoy. Enjoy in the pain, paraspara virodhabhas, opposition of feelings. Nonetheless, they feel closeness with Krishna in their, at least in the mind, and also signify the transcendental nature of their love. So this is all divine love we are talking about. Love with the Supreme and his devotee. Don't think about the Krishna, the young boy, and the gopis, the young girl. Think about the Supreme Lord and the devotee. And they are the perfect devotee. And Krishna is supreme. The Supreme is coming downwards to associate with the devotee. That's his greatness. Krishna descends to experience the love of the devotee for him. He relishes that. Ultimately, the gopis' quest for Krishna becomes a profound exploration of love that touches of themselves or devotion. This is all about Krishna Prema we are talking about. Because we cannot even imagine. But by reading this, we get some glimpse of what the divine love could be. And the interplay between the divine and the natural world. Their journey is not just a physical search, but also an emotional and spiritual pilgrimage. Look at that. These words are really touching my heart. This is not just physical search, but also an emotional and spiritual pilgrimage. What is pilgrimage? Going to the holy places, where you hear the stories about Krishna, right? The holy places, the great souls, they always talk about Krishna. So this is like that. When we hear this wonderful pastime with gopis and Krishna, especially in separation, then we get to get some glimpse, some glimmer of light of what the divine love could be like that. So imagine from that point of view and then read it, you'll be able to experience that love, some little glimpse of it. The journey is not just a physical search, but also an emotional and spiritual pilgrimage, reflecting the deep connection to Krishna and the divine pastimes they share. Okay, so now we'll go through some key thematic elements. Okay, based on those comments that. So this is what I came up with that. So these thematic highlights reflect transcendental emotions. भगवान से प्रेम करना हो तो कुछ इमोशन, हृदय की भावना को देखना चाहिए. वो भावना की लहर उठती है, जैसे waves happen in the sea. That's exactly the way. उस भावनाओं की मौजें पैदा होनी चाहिए हृदय के अंदर. These thematic highlights reflect transcendental emotions and philosophies that underline the complexity of love, devotion, and the pursuit of the divine. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments depict the gopis' intense pain of separation from Krishna, Vipralamba. मैं उसमें मैंने कहता हूँ वो दर्द होता है, वो दर्द भी एक्चुअली अजीब सी चुभन होती है, मीठी सी चुभन. दर्द है, मैं थोड़ा दर्द भी है, दर्द है, दर्द में भी थोड़ा थोड़ा चुभन है, मीठी सी. But also ponder deeper spiritual truth and the nature of their own relationship with the divine. Okay, the separation in this is the separation and longing for Krishna. More you become separation from your loved ones, more you become longing for that person. Daydreaming happens when you love someone and that person is not in front of you, and you imagine that he or she is next to me. That's the way the divine love is also like that. The gopis' intense feeling of separation from Krishna illustrate the concept of Vipralamba, which is central to Sri Ujjwal Nilabani. And this longing serves as a catalyst for deeper devotion and spiritual earning, emphasizing that separation can lead to more profound union with the divine. See that? It's so beautiful. Separation, maybe you imagine that you're meeting Krishna, because during separation you think about him and he is in front of you, because that is Krishna's potency. He tells the message, sends the message through Uddhava. The gopis who are suffering from separation from him, they are in the dying state. So Krishna sends Uddhava, tell them to meditate on me, not impersonal, but whatever the good times we spend together, you just recall that. And by my potency, I will be with you as if I'm in front of you. And that's called Swarsiki meditation. Again, Swarsiki meditation. So this divine madness, and this you will hear me repeatedly from different angle of vision. The gopis experience of Mother, the state of divine madness caused by their love for Krishna. This theme reflects the idea that true love can transcend rational thought. See that? They can imagine so wonderful things. And societal norms, this bypass, they transcend societal. So to the onlooker in the material world, they think that this is a madcap. What's happening to him? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, when such thing happening, people were laughing at him, Only devotees can understand. But you cannot imitate those things, okay? At the same time, you cannot imitate. It suggests that in spiritual ecstasy, one can lose one's sense of self. You lose your very self. You melt when you think like that, in that kind of thought. Identity and union. Now look at that Sambhoga meeting. The gopis' identification with, so they are not meeting physically, but in separation, when they think of him, then recall the pastimes. One acting as Krishna, the other is Gopi. So then they actually feel that he is right there among with them, you know. So it is kind of difficult to imagine. The person is not in front of you, but he is in front of you. You feel like that. That is Krishna's potency. And only when you study Bhagavatam, that in such great depth, you'll feel his presence. You'll feel his presence. When you want him around, he will come to you. The gopis' identification with Krishna, where they proclaim, I am Krishna. In my anger, sometimes I say, Krishna, why are you sleeping? There are thousands of people dying of thirst, dying of pain. Please wake up. This morning I was telling Krishna, please wake up. You're sleeping. Look at how we are suffering here. And Krishna doesn't sleep. This gopis' identification with Krishna, they proclaim, I am Krishna. So like they are acting. Highlights the concept Tad Atmika. What is called Tad Atmika? Their very self is immersed in the depth of Krishna Prema. That's called self Atmika. Their very soul dissolves in Paramatma. Soul and Paramatma, Atma and Paramatma, दोनों एक हो जाते हैं. Or becoming one with the beloved. This reflects the philosophical idea of non-duality in bhakti. So this is not like what Advaita Vedanta think like, they're merging with Krishna. This is a gulf of difference. Tad Atmika versus that. So when I say merge with Atma and Paramatma, they don't merge like that. They still maintain their identity, but they are merging in each other's thought. You look for Krishna, and Krishna is coming to you, like that. Where the devotee merges with the divine in love, transcendental individual identity, but certainly not in the sense of Advaita Vedanta, Advaitavada philosophy, which I constantly hear in this university classes. I'm sick and tired of that, you know. There's another reason I want to leave this place, you know, leave this pursuit, which was so dear to me, this doctoral degree. But now I'm fed up with that, you know. Savijya Mukti, because they are dictating terms to me, what I should write and what I should not write. Savijya Mukti, as these gopis are Nitya Siddhas, or eternally perfected concerts of Krishna. Nature as a reflection of divine. And the criticism I'm hearing, you know what? The essays are right. They're saying it's so beautiful, so elegantly written. It cannot be you. You must have copied somewhere. Somebody else must have written these essays for you. They refuse to believe that I wrote it. No. It's unimaginable what they think like that. The interaction with trees, plants, and animals symbolizes the interconnectedness of all living beings with the divine. The gopis believe that nature can provide answers, but Krishna illustrated the concept of Brahman. See, again, this is the Advaitavada things. They think Brahman is supreme, okay? But we know it's Bhagavan is supreme. Okay, moving on. Point number 5, thematic point number 5, playfulness in divine Leela. The playful exchanges between Krishna and the gopis underscore the concept of Leela. This is the pastimes. So that's what we are talking about, Leela, okay? Or divine play. This emphasizes that the relationship between the divine and the devotee is not solely serious or austere, but involves joy, humor, and lightheartedness. Inviting devotee. So this is giving the glimpse what divine interaction is between devotee and the Paramatma is there. Paramatma Bhagavan. Okay? Otherwise, we cannot imagine. Acharyas are helping us to look beyond. You have to dive into these words to actually feel what the words are saying. You really have to, your soul has to very immersed in that. Tad Atmika. Then you'll feel that, emotional transfer. Without emotion, you cannot serve Krishna. हृदय की फीलिंग्स होनी चाहिए. उमंग है, उमंग जैसे सागर में मौजें आती है, इस तरह emotions takes the waves one after another. The journey of the gopis from anguish to ecstatic love. So कृष्ण के प्रति प्रेम भी होता है, कृष्ण के प्रति गुस्सा भी आता है, उनसे कुछ शिकवा शिकायत, कुछ शिकवा और कुछ शिकायत तो मजा देने का और भी होता है ना. कहते हैं ना, एक गीत लिखा है किसी शायर ने, कुछ शिकवा हो कुछ शिकायत हो तो मजा देने का और भी आता है. तो भगवान से भी कुछ शिकायत हो सकती है हमारी. Beck illustrated the transformative power of devotion. This theme signifies that though love and longing, one can experience profound emotion and spiritual growth, breaking through layers of suffering to arrive at the deeper truth. So only through suffering this thing happens, prema. Questions of worthiness and fortune. These gopis inquire into the fortunes of earth. Other beings deflect themes of worthiness and grace. It invites reflection on the nature of divine favor and the idea that spiritual fortune is not merely about external appearances, but involves deep spiritual practices and devotion. The role of community. The gopis work together in their search for Krishna, emphasizing the importance of community in spiritual journeys. Their collective efforts highlight that devotion can be enhanced through shared experiences and support among peers. So this is what happens. One devotee discusses with another devotee. Now, what we are doing right now. When devotees discuss about Krishna with each other, then each other's feelings touch another person. And that's where we become engrossed, not one, but together we become engrossed in thinking about Krishna. And this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invented, the Sankirtana movement, collective singing and dancing, not one person, collective. This is called the role of community. It comes into play there. Okay, you want to take a break here? Because before I start the second part, let's take a 3-minute break. Okay, so take a little break, 3 minutes. Anybody wants to ask something?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So all these are like Vishwanath Chakravarti, whatever they're writing, that is their imagination, right? This is the imagination. It's not there in a sloka itself per se.
No, it's not their blind imagination. Imagination means they actually experience the Leelas of Krishna. Surdas, Surdas, he was born blind. But he describes Krishna Balya Leela as if he's seeing himself. So their imagination is not really imagination we translate in ourselves. So it's not true imagination. They actually, Krishna shows them himself up to them.
Hmm.
Sukadeva Goswami, when he was narrating, he was going through all these things when he was narrating to Parikshit Maharaj. Any other points, questions? Before I move into the next one? Okay. So now the second part will be moving. The gopis imitate Krishna's pastimes. We saw part of the example there. Again, these verses I'll skip because Samtamati has already done that. Still, we can take a break if you want to ask some more questions. Okay, let's move then. So now you see Krishna is still watching in there, but they are not able to see him, okay? And he's watching and he's seeing, feeling what they are going through that, okay? So see that one gopi is carrying another gopi on the shoulder. This is the depiction of one of the pastimes. When Trinavata flies over, other gopi is feeling that, Putana Vadan and everything that's happening. Say all these gopis are acting different. One is acting Krishna, another is gopi, like that. And Krishna is watching everything very carefully. Okay, so now verse 14, 23, key philosophical highlights. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments listed the deep ecstatic love that the gopis have for Krishna, expressing their devotion through enactment of his pastimes. Their actions reflect a profound emotional state known as Unmada. This is a common thing to the previous one. In the search for Krishna, the gopis engage in playful imitation. So they are enacting the Krishna's pastimes, playing themselves. One Krishna, other gopi, okay? So what are they doing and why are they doing? Each taking on the roles that connects them to the beloved deity. The narrative highlights their intense longing and their joy they derive from embodying their pastimes. Again, these are not my words actually. I'm paraphrasing what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in comments, okay? We serve both as a form of worship and the means to experience intimacy with Krishna. The gopis' minds become absorbed in Krishna, tad atmika. Again, remember that word tad atmika, okay? You should know what is tad atmika. The Atma itself becomes immersed in Paramatma. That is tad atmika. Your mind is totally engrossed in the thought of Krishna. That is tad atmika. And they begin to enact those pastimes, beginning with killing of Putana, all these pastimes we already heard. So they're reenacting those things because they already saw that actually happening, And in this context, should be understood yoga. So look at this is first time I heard this thing. It was a great surprise for me that Yogamaya herself became a devotee, one of the gopi. Sharadbhai, did you know that? I never knew it before. This is the example here. See that Yogamaya took the form of another gopi within their company to act in those pastimes. So Krishna must have sent Yogamaya to there. Yogamaya herself took a form of a gopi there in those pastimes. So obviously I would imagine Yogamaya taking the form of gopi and other gopis becoming Krishna. So Krishna is interacting with Yogamaya, this was a great surprise to me, when I read this in Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments. As the gopis fluctuate between self-awareness and their identification with Krishna, the text captures the transformative power of love, where one sees the gopis' very self-immersion, tad atmika again, self-immersion. Self means Atma, immerses in Paramatma, So Atma and Paramatma become one and the same. That doesn't mean that what Advaita Vedanta with this is the merging with the effulgence of Krishna, right? That is not like that. Here merging not with the effulgence, Brahma Jyoti, but merging with the soul itself, Paramatma itself, Paramatma himself. So Paramatma and Krishna, the gopis are coming together, merging each other. That is called Tadatmika. In this way, the gopis' experience serve as profound reminder of the heights of devotion, the highest point of devotion, Mahabhava. And Mahabhava, as we saw that in Sri Ujjwal Nilamani, the much higher levels of Mahabhava, right? Ruda Anubhava and Ati Ruda Mahabhava. Then Madana, Madana Bhava. Then comes Unmada and so on like that. This is way beyond. And the joy found in surrendering oneself to the love of God. It is not just a narrative longing, but a deep exploration. So what we read in Ujjwal Nilamani, we are actually seeing these verses now. What Rupa Goswami describes in Ujjwal Nilamani, it was not just a blind imagination. This pastime from 10th canto, that is what Rupa Goswami inspired him to write Ujjwal Nilamani. Okay, now this philosophical themes and their significance. There are several key philosophical themes that are significant in understanding the depth of devotion and the nature of divine love. Here are the highlights along with their significance. Role play and identity. The gopis' enactment of Krishna's pastimes reveals the fluidity of identity in the context of divine love. Now, fluidity, समझ सकते हैं आप? Anybody? Do you understand what is fluidity means here? Change of dress.
Change of roles, like change of dress.
Yeah. It dissolves, fluid bundle dissolves in them. By assuming roles, they express their longing and create a personal connection with Krishna. This is all it matters. Personal amalgamation. देखो दो मेटल को मेल्ट करते हैं, उसको मिक्स करते हैं, उसको बोलते हैं amalgamation, right? So this is what it is. आत्मा and परमात्मा का मिलन. You become Krishnaized. Not in the sense Saivijya Mukti, no. Saivijya Mukti, you are merging with the Brahma Jyoti. You are merging here in the thought of Krishna. You are dissolving, let yourself being dissolved in Krishna. वो इसे कहते तदात्मिका. Yogamaya's intervention that we just saw, that Yogamaya's role in facilitating Gopi's experience signifies the divine presence that guides and supports the devotee's journey. So actually Yogamaya helps. And when does Yogamaya help? Your transformation from Mahamaya to Yogamaya. Okay? When you forget about material world and merge yourself, dissolve yourself in Krishna Prema, then Yogamaya takes control of you. And Yogamaya arranges your meeting with Krishna. She becomes one of the gopis here. Yogamaya's role in facilitating gopis' experiences signifies the divine presence that guides and supports the devotee's journey. It reinforces the idea that spiritual experiences are often orchestrated. See that the word orchestra किसे कहते हैं? जो म्यूजिक कंपोजर है, वो जो सारी ऑर्केस्ट्रा होता है म्यूजिशियन की, कोई वायलिन बजाते हैं, कोई बंसी बजाते हैं, कोई ड्रम बजाता है, कोई वायलिन बजाते हैं, इस सबको एक ही सुर में लाना, that is the role of a musician, the music director. So orchestra and music director, they worked in one tune. So here it is like that. So this Yogamaya is like a musician, music director, who orchestrates all of us, connects us with Krishna. So that is the role of Yogamaya. When you come to that platform, Yogamaya connects us to Krishna. Without Yogamaya, you cannot come to Krishna. The playfulness of divine love, that's called Leela. The playing imitation of Krishna's pastime reflects the joyous nature of divine love. Even in their pain of separation, they're enjoying by acting out, remembering face to face the Leela of Krishna's Leela, Krishna's pastimes. They're reenacting that. This theme suggests that the relationship between the devotee and the divine is not solely, mark these words, very important words, this sentence. This theme suggests that the relationship between the devotee and the divine is not solely serious or solemn, but can be filled with joy, creativity, and spontaneity. This is called physical reunion. Milan, Judai mein Milan, Milan mein Judai. You cannot differentiate. That is the highest love. And that gopis only had that. We cannot have that at this level. Because the material world is taking us. Embodiment of devotion. This gopis actions serve as metaphor for how devotees embody their love of God. हमें बहुत सिखाता है ये सब कुछ, बहुत कुछ सीखना मिलता है ये सुनने से ही. मैं सुनना है, दिल से सुनना है, कानों से नहीं, दिल से सुनना है. By engaging in physical expressions of their devotion, they illustrate the holistic nature of unalloyed bhakti. Unalloyed bhakti सुनते तो हम है, पर उसका अंदाज नहीं है क्या होता है unalloyed bhakti. यहाँ से पता चलता है the holistic nature, where body, mind, and spirit unite in the pursuit of divine connection. This is what really very important point. Remember, हमने सुना है अंतःकरण, right? Mind-body complex. Oh, mind-body complex is the reason we saw that in different classes, right? That is the one keeps us in the material world. Mind-body complex, right? पर उसी mind-body complex को हम भगवान में ट्रांसफर कर सकते हैं. उसी mind-body complex. How the same body and bodily senses and the mind we engage in Krishna's service instead of material pursuits. That is where the transformation takes place. And that is the key thematic element of my hypothesis. When you do that, your body goes through fantastic, incredible transformation. The whole gene out, read out of the genes completely changes. The genes which reads those elements of our physical personality, that is so obnoxious. Now those genes are turned off, and genes which connects us to Krishna in prema bhakti, those genes are turned on, which are conducive for bhakti. So whole body-mind complex, just कहते हैं जहर से जहर, poison kills poison. Only with the thorn you can take out the thorn that's stuck in your sole of your feet. And the thorn, when you walk in the forest, the thorn is stuck in your sole. How do you remove it? With another thorn. Only poison kills poison. So this is the way to do the same body-mind complex that puts us anchored on the ground of material world. Same body-mind complex, if we engage in Krishna's service, it puts us in different light. Totally different. The pain of being in the material world is removed, just like a thorn removes another thorn. Transcendence of self. The thematic highlight collectively emphasize the profound nature of devotion, portraying it as a dynamic. So this is a dynamic state, not static. All the time it keeps changing. Transformative experience and encompasses joy, playfulness. थोड़ा दर्द भी है, थोड़ा प्यार भी है, प्रेम भी है. मीठी सी चुभन है, मगर वो मीठी सी है. Mixed kind of emotions, you feel that. जुदाई में मिलन, मिलन में जुदाई. Transcendence of self. The fluctuation between self-identification and identification with Krishna reflects the philosophical concept of this dissolution of ego in spiritual practice. जो false ego है, body mind complex, bodily conception of life that dissolves and takes into spiritual form. That transformation we are talking about. It underscores, so Tadatmika again, it underscores the idea that true devotion involves transcending the self to experience unity with the divine. See that how you can unite with Krishna. This is the way to do it. It is showing us how to do this thing. The role of fear and playfulness. Gopi is hiding her face out of fear after being playfully tied by Yogamaya highlights the duality of love where fear and joy coexist. See that? दर्द है, चुभन है, मनो मीठी सी चुभन है, एक कसक है. प्रेम की कसक को कौन जान सकता है? जिसने प्रेम किया वही जान सकता है. जिसने दर्द का अनुभूति किया हुआ है वही समझ सकता है. जब दर्द प्रेम का अनुभव किसने किया ही नहीं है, वो दर्द क्या जाने. The intense play of illustrates the complexity of the devotee's relationship with the divine. 60 साल पहले की बातें रूबरू हमारी नजर के सामने आ जाती है. 60 years पहले की बातें. तो वो तो मटेरियल वर्ल्ड है. स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड की बात ही क्या है? In spiritual terms, 60 years is just a few seconds only. Uniqueness of Krishna's sweetness. कृष्ण किसी को 60 साल पहले दूर से 1000 feet दूर से हम देखते थे किसी को, उसकी याद है 60 साल के बाद फिर भी जिंदा है दिमाग में. तो ये मटेरियल वर्ल्ड भी ये सब हो सकता है, तो स्पिरिचुअल वर्ल्ड भी क्या नहीं हो सकता है. बस देखने का अंदाज है, नजरिया बदलिए, नजरिया बदलिए. Krishna's mortal as mischievous child, and this is all Krishna's charm. Krishna makes this thing happen if you let him do that, and he's eager to do it. Hare Krishna. Very good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful class, Prabhu, as always. I mean, so you did gone to so deep of this Vipralamba Bhava, how it is, even for a material, as you mentioned, that for the material eyes, it is very difficult to understand also. That's what I was meditating on this one. Even because we are all staying away from our parents and all, the material point I'm saying this one. So when I was there with my parents, I hardly, attached to them. I going here and there. When I'm staying away from them, so that intense, always thinking about them, all this stuff happens.
Exactly.
So Krishna, so through these gopis, they are really teaching us how Vipralamba Bhava is so important in our spiritual life, Prabhu. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so
जुदाई
much.
में हम कृष्ण को देख सकते हैं, बहुत बड़े ज्यादा क्लियरली देख सकते हैं हम.
Correct, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
और
So
तो वो कृष्ण की जुदाई में देखते हैं. हम अपनी जो दुख होते हैं मटेरियल वर्ल्ड में, सफरिंग,
correct,
in suffering we need to train ourselves to see Krishna, you know.
correct, Prabhu.
कहने का मतलब ये है.
Yes, Prabhu. I mean, this material breakdown is also teaches us through the spiritual upliftment. I think that's what I always think that, because until unless, because everything, if we have a golden spoon feeding, so we hardly thinking about the Lord and how the Lord's Leela, all these stuffs happen. But this material breakdowns are really teaching us a lot of lessons in our life. That's what I can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what my effort was there to take you to that kind of super nature, you know.
Yes, Prabhu.
How,
And
through the
you
lens
always
of,
emphasize. Yes, Prabhu.
we are not reached to that gopi love, right? Obviously.
Correct.
But
No,
still,
no.
it teaches us. ये
Yes.
material difficulty जो हमारे जीवन में आती है, उसका नजरिया बदल दीजिए.
Correct, correct.
नजरिया बदल दीजिए, क्योंकि वो विप्रलंब है हमारे लिए.
Correct. Vipralimba, and moreover that this teaches us an intense, so that longingness for the Lord is give us a confidence. I mean, basically, I was also reading Srila Prabhupada, one of the purport that devotees' fear is not that they are absence of the courage or something like that. It is the presence of the knowledge makes us the devotees get away with that fear. That is what he was saying in something like that,
Yeah.
So
You got
it is not
You
that
got it.
devotees, they are fear, not because of that they are courage is absent in that one. No. So devotees are really courageous because they have the knowledge of how to get out of this material world. That's what he was saying something, Prabhu. That is what I can connect this word. This teaches us so much. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Constantly
Yes.
hearing these pastimes, we get to that stage.
Correct.
Constantly hearing that.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Again,
Prabhu,
Prabhu,
thank
if
you.
My mere thanks not enough, Prabhu, in words.
No. You.
Yeah, thank you.
I can see that you're coming to that stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I was just still dwelling on that Sayuj. We always try to, this is obnoxious word, Sayuj, that means we don't. But how the word is interpreted like fluidity. That means when you are fluid, you merge completely. When you are solid, one solid with another solid, like two separate identities, right? However you interact, it doesn't, it's not there. But when you are fluid, that gopis permit Lord's bhava, right? All his love and permit. So for that you need a liquid, in the liquid form, in a fluid form,
Mixing
right?
jaldi hota hai. And
Mixing
even the
jaldi
metal
hota hai.
from how the metal melts.
Correct.
And there become amalgamation with another metal. So you need to melt yourself, Krishna Prema. जो कृष्ण प्रेम की जो गर्मी है, वो गर्मी से हम मेल्ट हो जाते हैं, प्रेम की गर्मी.
Yeah, and the second point, what you said, you look gopis as a pure devotees, devotees and the Lord. Then these pastimes go so smoothly, so smoothly. You take that. So that is a very nice word that, right? So at the end of that, everything shreds away, and only their love as a devotee, they belong to Him. Right. So either Lord, you are mine, or I am your. Either of that, whichever it goes. As we look at that, that bhava comes there. So nice, Prabhuji. You put the philosophical point. Again, after you did so nicely, after bringing everything, bringing the philosophical point, so that we can connect little bit of what we discussed. That was very nice at the bringing the philosophy at the end. That was nice, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. You're very merciful. Anybody else? We still have time, right? Okay, while you're thinking, I'll let Sharad Prabhuji speak. Sharad Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. We have heard such nice things. And I'll just repeat two things. The gopis ask various plants, trees, animals, if they have seen Krishna, this aspect and the aspect of their acting. Now, why they were asking these trees and the plants and the various types of animals, like the Aswastha trees, the banyan trees like this, why they were asking? Because these trees were very tall, so that a person who is in a much higher platform, he can see far away, and they thought perhaps they have seen Krishna. That's why they were asking him. And as we heard, what was the reason? At the end, what the gopis said, because all these trees, they have impure hearts with meager fruits and no flowers, but no help can be expected from them. And then the other types of trees, they asked, the Asoka trees, the Punanga trees, the Champaka trees. Now, what was the reason? Because they have pure hearts and they graciously serve the guests. that is the bees they collect the honey from them. That's why they asked this set of trees. And what was their ultimate comment on them, the gopis? They thought they are the males, so they would side Krishna. Even if they have seen Krishna, they will not tell us. And out of malice, they do not speak to the gopis on understanding their pride. Actually, the trees won't speak. But the gopis, they expected them to give an answer. And they were standing as trees only. They did not answer. But these were the inferences the gopis had. Then regarding Tulasi, because the Tulasi is very, very dear to the Supreme Lord, and the gopis thought she is a female, so she knows the pain that the gopis are feeling, and whatever answer she gives will be favorable to them. But ultimately, they did not get any answer from Tulasi also. So they thought Tulasi is intoxicated with the pride of her good fortune of associating with the Supreme Lord. That's why she didn't look at the gopis. Then what about the flower? The Malati, Mallika, and Yuthika, that is Jasmine, like this. Why they approached them? Because they are Krishna's servants and they offer him suitable flowers. They thought they must have seen him when he came to pluck them and are thus humble. But at the end, what they commented, they said out of fear of Krishna, these the flowering trees, and also Tulasi, they are not speaking, though they exactly know where Krishna has gone, but still they are not saying. And then the next set of trees, the mango, the jackfruit, the ambra, bakula, kadamba, like this. They approach them because they are dedicated their existence to the welfare of others. They serve others. Therefore, the gopis thought they will be able to help them. But what was their final experience? They thought, the gopis thought that perhaps all these trees and plants did not hear our questions because they were in trance. They were meditating on the Supreme Lord. Or they may be hard-hearted, although living in a holy place. So let us find someone who definitely knows where Krishna is. And like this, they kept on acting. At the end, they acted, they enacted various pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Now here very interesting thing comes up. The gopis, they behaved like a crazy person, like crazy persons, because they were searching for Krishna and they could not find him. They thought that by enacting those deeds of Krishna, they would show that they are forms of Krishna and they should give momentary pleasure to Krishna and to themselves. And now Yogamaya enacted the pastimes of the bad guys as per Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, like they acted like Putana, Shaktasura, like this. But Jiva Goswami, he says that these gopis who were acting as bad guys like Putana, they remained in their own nature and not in a mood of opposition. Like Putana was in a mood of opposition, and she was trying to kill Krishna. They did not go to that level. They were just acting for the sake of it, and they remained in their nature. And those actings like Krishna were in his nature. Two sets of gopis. Some were acting like Krishna, and some were acting as somebody else. Then here, the gopis enacted many of the Leelas, like Krishna liberating Trinavarta, Bakasura, and Krishna's crawling as a baby, tending cows, playing flute, playing sports, then various graceful movements, lifting Govardhana hill, subduing Kalia, swallowing the forest fire, and being bound by Mother Yasoda and so on, like this. And the other gopis, they congratulated these gopis who were acting. Like this, all these enactments, they kept on going because they were totally in a mood of searching Krishna. Rather, I'll say they were one with Krishna only. And that's why they could come up to that level. They never thought that they were acting. They had come to that mood, and that is the stage of Divya Unmada. They were totally crazy. So this is what was happening, and the balance portion we'll see in the next class tomorrow. Thank you,
Thank
Prabhu.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Anybody else? If not, then we'll conclude the class. Who is going to do the Nashima prayer? People must have left, looks like.
Archana Mataji.
She's not there.
No, Archana Mataji is there. Archana Mataji, are you there?
Okay.
Prasad Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can do it. If you
Okay.
Please.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Ito nasino padato nasino. Yato yami tato nasino. Bahir nasino ride nasino. Arasimha vim sharanam tapadi. Avakara kamalavari naka. Advita shinga. Dalita hivanya koshitu. Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Narasimhadev Jaya Narasimhadev Jaya Prahlad Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Narasimhadev Bhagwan ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Lord Maharaj ki Jai. Hare Krishna to all. His Grace Sharad Prabhu ki Jai, His Grace Sharad Prabhu ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled deities. Jagannath Mishra Festival ki Jai, Gaur Purnima ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. From today's class, what I really enjoyed, Prabhu, was when you were reading the purport directly from those. So that was giving us a much more closer taste and a good experience.
I thought I would do it a little bit differently today.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
I like that from you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Haribol. Haribol, Prasad Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Brief purport made the difference.
Dhanavad Prabhu to all devotees.
Sanjeev Prabhu also mentioned. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.